Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Talk Your Abs Off. I'm Abby Clapper, and today I'm sharing 3 key things that I learned from my time coaching for a top weight loss app. Many of the clients that we worked with struggled with habits around food, the relationship with food, and their mindset when it came to exercise, nutrition, things like that. And a lot of these habits and mindsets were developed over their entire lifetime. And we really work to help people change that mindset and make it sustainable so that they can move forward and be successful. So these lessons actually apply beyond weight loss and are for anyone seeking a balanced approach to their health. I actually still use a lot of these coaching mindset techniques with the clients that I'm working with in my Jumpstart program and my personal training clients as well. So, if you have ever dealt with all or nothing thinking, the clean your plate mentality, or intuitive eating, this episode is for you. Let's dive in. First, we're starting with all or nothing thinking. Now, this one is super common. All or nothing thinking is very black and white. It is a perfectionist mindset that can really lead to an extreme, dieting, binging, deciding not to do anything at all. It's really difficult to overcome. So some examples of all or nothing thinking might be, I ate one cookie, so I might as well eat the whole box. Another one is, if I can't do a full workout, I'm not going to work out at all. And maybe one more, I was good all week. I was quote unquote good all week, but I had pizza on Friday. So now my diet is ruined. These can be really hard for someone and can also lead to cycles of guilt and frustration. Um, Ultimately, it comes down to consistency and not perfection. I like to tell people one meal doesn't ruin your progress, just like one workout isn't going to make you fit overnight. If we were to take this into like a real life scenario, let's think about you're driving along the road and you get a flat tire. If you get out and you see the flat tire, you you don't get out and slash the other 3 tires, right? You fix the flat tire and then you keep going from there. It might seem like a really silly all or nothing example, but truthfully, that's what we're dealing with here. So, when we are coaching around all or nothing thinking, we want to replace all or nothing with always something. So, if you don't think that you can get to the gym for an hour workout, make it a 10-minute workout that you can do at home. It could be a 10-minute walk, some stretching, maybe dancing around your kitchen. If you're thinking, oh man, I had a really bad meal yesterday, the rest of the weekend is gone. It's over. I'm done. That doesn't need to ruin your progress. One meal isn't going to throw you off the track completely. We need to reframe that mindset to come back and say, okay, the next meal that we eat is a really good chance for us to fuel our body differently in a way that feels good for us. So this leads us to the clean your plate mentality. I know that so many people grew up in families where you were told that you had to clean your plate because there were starving kids around the world, or you were maybe rewarded for finishing your plate. If you finish all your food, you get rewarded with dessert. And this is a really common thing that a lot of people have struggled with, and it's our cultural norm, just as how we were raised. And there's also a lot of normalization around the size of portions that we get at restaurants when we go out. And shoot, I know, like, if you look at the size of like a medium soda now, the thing's like a flippin' bucket, like it's huge. And when we sit down, the meals that we receive could feed multiple people instead of just one person. So to kind of coach through this, I like to recommend to kind of check in with people with your own hunger cues, to check in with yourself about halfway through your meal. You can put down your fork and ask yourself, am I still hungry? Another really good thing that I have coached people through is to practice leaving a small amount of food on your plate to try to break that habit. Just leaving that one bite of food is going to be really hard to start. And the goal here is not to waste food, but it's to listen to our body's cues. and really start to break that habit. If you go out to eat, asking for a to-go box right away when you order your food. Say, hey, can I just have a takeaway box, a to-go box? And then once you receive your food, you can split it into whatever serving sizes you want, however much you feel maybe comfortable eating, and you put the other half into a box, leave it off to the side. Best part, you get to take that home with you and have some amazing leftovers after that. And then your portion size is also a little bit more reasonable while you're out to eat. Another thing that you can do at home is you can actually use smaller plates so that the serving size that you give yourself fills the plate. It looks a little bit fuller. So it's kind of like fooling your eyes into thinking, oh, yeah, I have a full plate. And then that way you can actually serve smaller portions to yourself. So if you were someone who was rewarded for finishing the food on your plate, we can shift this mindset, leave that little bit of food on the plate. Once you do that, you will not be eating or overeating just for the sake of eating. You are going to eat your meals, they're going to fuel you, you're going to feel more energized and more in control of the food that you are eating, which is really important. And this actually leads us into the third lesson, which is intuitive eating. Now, intuitive eating it can feel really scary for some people because you might think, well, how can I trust myself around what I'm eating? How can I trust myself around food? And I promise you that you can. It is reconnecting with your natural hunger and fullness cues that your body has. So, our fast paced lifestyles that we currently lead, that leads to distracted eating. We eat lunch at our desks, we eat snacks in our cars. I know I do. I'm always driving around eating snacks in my car. And sometimes, people come home and eat dinner while watching TV. These things are so common, but it really is a distraction from our natural hunger cues. We're not allowing our body to feel and process what we're eating, and we're just distracted, which can cause overeating, not realizing how much they were eating. And on top of that, years of dieting, diet culture, those kinds of things can also dull your body's natural hunger cues and signals. So, some of the main takeaways from this is really recognizing your true hunger versus your emotional cravings. We really want to eat in a way that feels good physically and mentally. And that is going to help us stop the cycle of restriction and binging. So, some practical steps that we can take for practicing intuitive eating is before you eat, take a pause and just say to yourself, am I actually hungry, or am I just bored, stressed, or tired? You could ask, what food will make me feel good both now and later? And maybe even, how does this meal make my body feel afterwards? So you kind of got to do a little bit of self exploration here. I'm big on exploring how this feels for yourself and your body. Another thing that you could try is maybe even like making an event for your meal. So again, a lot of times we're really distracted, but if we can really hone in on the event that mealtime is, it can really make such a difference. So something that we coached was, and it might seem kind of silly, but set the table, light a candle, put out some placemats, maybe some decorations, and really make that mealtime special. You also want to slow down. So it takes your body about 20 to 30 minutes to recognize that it's full. And I want to ask you, does it take you longer than 20 minutes to eat? I know I do not take 20 minutes to eat. My husband and I are flying through our dinner in maybe like 10 or 15 minutes. And by that time, your body doesn't even recognize that it's full yet. So you could have well overeaten by the time you're even done with that 15-minute meal. So my recommendation would be to slow down, put your fork down between bites, maybe focus on the foods that you're putting in your body. You can notice some flavors, textures, how it makes your body feel. And I do want to remind you that this is a process, so it's going to take time. But every small consistent step is going to lead you to reconnecting with your body. So if you have been maybe yo-yo dieting your whole life and you feel really disconnected from your body and you've just been eating what everybody's been telling you to eat during certain amounts of times or things like that, intuitive eating is going to feel really challenging, but you're also going to feel a lot more freedom once you have control over your body's hunger cues. So to recap, our 3 lessons: that we're taking away from this. Number one, all or nothing thinking. It's not always the answer, but consistency is, those small, consistent steps. Number two, the clean your plate mentality can really disconnect you from your hunger cues. And number three, intuitive eating is about tuning in and taking your time during meals and just slowing down. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. I want to encourage you to really reflect on which mindset resonates you the most. I would love if you sent me a message on Instagram. I'm on Instagram at Coach Abby Clapper. And if you think that this episode was beneficial, maybe even share it with a friend. If you really liked it, I would love it if you could subscribe and leave a review. It really helps me out so much and it means the world to me. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you on the next episode.